Hi, and welcome back to PDA Dad UK. In this episode, I get to speak to the incredible Chickenshed, who you may know as the Golden Buzzer Act, Alesha Dixon's Golden Buzzer Act from Britain's Got Talent. Hi, and as I say, welcome back to PDA Dad UK. Before we go on, please do go hit like, hit subscribe, and ring the bell. You'll always know when I've got new content coming up. And we're getting really close to hitting that 10,000 subscriber mark, and it would be a huge milestone for me. So please help out, go and do that. It would be amazing. As I said before, I had the opportunity to speak to three of the members of Chickenshed. So you may well know Chickenshed from Britain's Got Talent. They were Alesha Dixon's Golden Buzzer Act, in fact. And what really amazed me was that they are an inclusive theatre company. They have a real passion for their community and for inclusivity. Doesn't matter who you are, what conditions or disabilities or what your cultural background is, whatever you have going on, there's a place for you. And they not only look to make it inclusive and make you feel welcome, they use their differences to really enhance what they do. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to the interview. It was an interview I did with Adam Pearson from the Grumpy Gits. We have a shorter version there on the Grumpy Gits episode, so please do go check that out. It's a great episode. But this is the full interview with the members of Chickenshed, so please enjoy.
Thank you, us from the future, and we are here, Adam Pearson, Duncan Casburn, and as many of you will know, Simon Cowell's quest for talent finding, world domination, and the thing we legally can't talk about has begun, and we are very lucky to be joined by Alesha Dixon's Golden Buzzer, hailing from the North Ends. We have Jimmy, Aria, and Gabriel, part of the collective known as Chickenshed. How are we doing, guys?
That was a good intro.
It's almost like it's my job.
Guys, I've again just watched it this morning, but I was lucky enough to be watching it as it aired because my kids love BGT. I was just so amazed because I don't know about you guys. I find that when you have inclusive groups, often it's at the expense of the actual talent. And I don't mean that to sound nasty, but you guys genuinely have the talent to go along with the fact that you're inclusive and so diverse. How did Chickenshed start?
Well, it started coming up to 50 years ago. The two founders were looking for a home, a place where they can create theatre for everyone. And I think they went to lots of different places that they could never stay permanently for, like church halls and like halls and stuff like that. Also, when you're starting off, I guess you don't have that much money, just kind of have a passion. And then there was a lady called Lady Rain. Lazy Elizabeth Bing. And she basically had a very big house, lots of land, and she had a massive chicken shed in her back garden. And she was like, well, you can use this chicken shed. There's no chickens in it, but you can use it for free. They eventually just stuck like, I'm going to the chicken shed. I'm going to the shed. Yeah, I'm going to go to the chicken shed. I'm going to go perform at the chicken shed. And then eventually, when we got a space of our own, a building, we thought might as well stay true to the name and call it chicken.
Because I was looking at the name and thinking where it came from and looking into it, but it just I've been called chicken shit a lot, but never actually had the chicken shed side of it. I've been told I look like a shed, but that's an entirely different thing. What was it like heading onto that stage? Because the thing that got me was that Simon obviously knew about you guys because he commented on it, that he's been waiting for you guys to come on. And when I was looking through, you did the Queen's coronation, is that right?
Yes, Manchester.
Oh yeah, we did.
You've done a load of stuff. I'm embarrassed that you've only come onto my radar recently. But I mean, what's the list of some of the stuff you guys have achieved long before getting onto?
I think there's quite a bit.
Yeah.
We've got some sheds in like Helsinki, in New York. A lot of work they do in China. Obviously here we've got Kensington, Haringey, Israelis coming over. We do a lot of outreach stuff within like prisons and youth offenders and secondary schools and primary schools. We've done a lot in a short amount of time, I guess.
The obvious question is, how has it been since Britain's Got Talent? Got a Golden Buzzer, obviously only like 5-6 acts get it a year, depending on whether they do the group Golden Buzzer or not. How is the world of infamy and fame treating you?
It's
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's a lot of early mornings.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of early
Game
mornings.
you don't have early mornings outreach. You act like you don't do outreach. Gabriel goes on outreach all the time with us. He's used to early
tired all the
mornings.
time. He's tired all the time.
This is just his excuse to complain about it.
But in general, though, it's been like amazing, and I think a big part of us, or at least for me, it was a thing of when we went on Britain's Got Talent. I think we all knew we were going to do well, but we didn't know if the message was going to be as reciprocated as we feel it is.
Yeah.
And the first time it was like a crowd of 3,000 people that they understood what we were talking about. They kind of got the message full stop.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, it was more. It wasn't that. I guess it wasn't necessarily like we knew that we'd do well. It's like we knew we'd be proud.
Yeah.
Like because we knew we'd be proud because we're performing together, and we just kind of wanted to get our message out there. And the fact that the audience participation, they got the message from as soon as basically we started speaking.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
There was a real vibe in the room, wasn't there? And it really came across.
Yeah, we're used to like having to fight for the reasons why we do what we do, because we're not a big majority of what we do. The world sometimes they're not ready for the inclusive part. So we're used to kind of like having to really not fight, but really answer the questions that need to be answered, but like they don't come easy. So the fact that they knew and they got it straight away was like, wow, like they're actually, the world's ready. They're ready. They're ready.
Yeah. There's all these buzzwords that surround it. I'm forever going to panels at places like the BFI, the BBC, and the National Theatre, and I think, oh, we're diverse. So I'm like, yeah, but are you inclusive? Because diversity is being asked to the disco, inclusion is being asked to dance. And I don't think we're doing enough dancing. So when you guys came on, I was like, yes, I also been waiting for you guys to like rock up, plant your seat, and nail it. When you watched it back on, because obviously watching it back on the telly is very different to how it may have happened in the there and then. And Duncan touched on it earlier. That very often when you see, particularly disability, on the telly, there's often sort of like wanky music in the background. People love a little bit of like REM or Dido, or that fucking Take That song Rule the World. And so there's always that worry that it might.
No, it's now being replaced, isn't it? It all comes from The Greatest Showman now.
That's a good movie.
Greatest Showman. It's a great film, great music, but it's now just become the staple for inclusion.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Oh, this is me. What? You don't know that, so I might be really good at identity fraud. Don't judge me. So yeah, was there any concerns that you might be not necessarily misrepresented, but almost over inspirationalized?
100% for many different reasons. So we had a massive, not a massive, I call it massive because it was a big moment for us, but we had a listening party here last Saturday, and it was so cute. Like the cast and the family were invited, anyone part of Chickenshed were invited, and for a lot of us, because we love what we do, and this place is very special for so many different reasons to so many different people. We were it's sacred. We were very nervous to not the fact to go on to the show. It was like nervous to the fact that we're like something that we want to protect so much could be perceived in so many different ways. Like the fact that we could be using disability to like get a golden buzzer or get further ahead, like the old and the young, using lots of kids, and the fact that not everyone would necessarily understand what we do. It was very nerve-wracking, like to put our like special place out there. And I think we chose a great song to show the beginning of our story.
Definitely.
But when we was watching it after, I felt like the way they like edit and make things look, it was amazing. I think the TV team, or I don't know what they did so well. Because you can get TV sometimes, it's like, oh, I didn't mean it like that, or I didn't say it like that, or that didn't connect like that. I think it was perfect.
It was a mind-blowing moment. Something I think people may not realise having watched it is that you guys write a lot of the music yourselves, don't you, or part of the team. It's actually you. I mean, the raps were clearly written by you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
written by Gabriel, Demar, Jimmy.
Yeah,
we really very like heavily influenced by obviously the world. But we write our own stuff. Mm-hmm. We also we use like things that are out there already, because if something's perfect, or why change it? Just add to it, put your own spin on it. But yeah, these guys definitely write their own stuff.
Yeah,
we've got like a team of some writers that write the shows, and our students, they're currently like doing their own like end of year production, so they're like learning how to write scripts, and we do a lot of that. Yeah.
One question I want to ask, going back to something Gabriel said just shortly, use the term sacred to describe. I think that's a really telling word, because you don't hear that used in everyday conversation much, but to describe something like that. Why does it have that impact for you?
Because it has that impact, because if you truly love something, if you're truly passionate about it, if you feel like you can find something in someone or find something in some place that is home to you and it's very special to you, you don't want anybody to harm that. You don't want anybody to take that or perceive it as something wrong. So you try your best to protect it, and that's why I say that like this place is sacred, you know, to all of us.
And I think it's important for everyone to have that, whether it's sort of like Chickenshed, or I've got like those little D&D and board gaming group.
Of course.
Where kind of it becomes more than just a hobby, doesn't it? It's where your soul is able to, forgive the pun, sing. And you have this like community around you. And I imagine you guys have got like a very, granted unwritten, but like a really strict like no wanker policy.
Do you know what? Everyone has their days, so
How do you deal with that? I want to know. If someone's getting a bit diverish, a bit wankerish.
We embrace that. Diva, use it.
Yeah.
If you're a diva, it's just because you're having a morning and you care about something, you know?
Yeah.
Who is it? I bet I can guess. I bet I can guess what one it is.
He's got videos.
Oh no, out of the whole group. That little one that went, "The night is contagious, go tell your neighbours."
Oh, Bella!
I bet she flies off.
She's complaining about early mornings.
Yes.
About the
After
diva.
being late.
Is it diva? It's not to me.
No, actually, he is low-key a diva. Gabriel's the diva. Gabriel's actually the diva. Gabriel will walk up at 3 in the afternoon to Chickenshed. I'll be like, Gabriel, you alright, mate? I'm tired.
Don't listen to them. They're lying.
I'm not rolling out of this cab.
They're not telling us. They're not telling us.
Honestly.
I also hate early mornings. It is one of the downsides of the gig. Anytime like I get a call going, "Oh, can you do BBC breakfast?" It's just like, that means I've got to be in Manchester at 6:30 in the morning. Oh my God.
That's early.
And then they're like, "Oh no, we'll overnight you." And I'm like, "I've still got to be up at 5:30, bro. That doesn't help me at all. We've got Zoom. Can't I just Zoom in?" "Oh no, we're trying to get back to people in the studio now."
I swear, if I could go back and invest money in Zoom, I would do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
If I went back in time, I'd invest money in Zoom. I'd write the song "Let It Go" from Disney's Frozen. Frozen.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I'd put £1,000 on Leicester to win the Premiership that year.
Oh, believe me. Yes.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'd put that grand on Wrexham getting out of
No.
the league. That would
Did you?
No, I'm saying I would. If
Oh,
I
you
could
would.
now.
No, that's an accomplishment and a half for Wrexham, though.
I want to go back to the inclusivity side of things and inclusion. When you guys say that, and you kind of, it's a badge of pride, but it's just something that I feel is just naturally innate with you guys. What does it look like for you? What does it mean when someone comes in? How do you reflect that?
Well, I think the fact that being inclusive is such a big thing is so sad. The fact that they're inclusive, I think it's so sad.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it is really, really sad.
It's new. It's very new to them.
It's like
It's something that's mundane and not, you know.
it's just
Yeah.
human nature.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like treat others how you like to be treated.
And it's because
Well,
there isn't a place like us. So we stand out as one of a kind, which is great. But at the same time, it's like
We don't
Cara
want to
said,
be.
it's sad that we're literally the only thing that's there. And then
Or if we're not the only thing, people are not brave enough to step out as that,
Take
because
that
it's not
extra mile.
seen as normal.
yeah.
Because we spoke on the Grumpy Gits, we spoke about when The Apprentice did their inclusive videos, and it was just the ultimate hour of absolute cringe TV because they just so far off the mark. What I loved about watching you guys was actually not the people who may have disabilities or different cultural backgrounds. It was that there were just average everyday people who may be wheelchair users, people who may have learning disabilities. But it was all of you together. And that's what gets missed with inclusion, I think. It's either, oh, we're inclusive because we're all disabled in some way, or we're all of one cultural background. That's why we're inclusive. Whereas you guys, it is from everywhere, every walk of life. You're all there together.
I think the biggest thing that we do, which makes us stand out, is the fact that we empower people as well. Yeah. We don't just tell them, oh, come in, you'll feel safe here. We also put them on that platform where we embrace their flaws and their flaws, so-called, and make them of something, if it makes sense.
And do you know what? Just like thinking, I guess the way the world is working now, you've always got to like think about what you're saying. So when I'm just listening to you, it's not the fact that we empower people, is we give people the time and the voice and remind them that they can empower themselves. And when someone empowers themselves, like the fact that you can't give yourself a compliment, you're meant to wait for a compliment, is wild. Like you should be your biggest fan. So we give people the voice to say, oh, I am this, I am that, I want to be this, I want to be that.
This is me.
It's like me sometimes. Like I be having conversations with Jimmy and Cara a lot of the time, and I be like, sometimes I be feeling myself, and I be like, yo, like I'm the greatest. I'm one of the greatest performers. You know,
Diva.
Like
Diva.
I'm
what I mean.
I'm one of the greatest. Like to be on the full wheel and perform.
In what world?
Best.
In what world?
I am the best on the full wheel.
That's what I'm saying. Look, empowered.
I'm the best on the wheel.
Next week,
with you,
about the impending breakup of Chickenshed. It happened here.
I'm with you, Gabriel. I do that before every podcast recording. I look myself in the mirror, I do the whole cool running thing. I see pride, I see power. I see a badass man who don't no crap for nobody. I play CM Punk's entrance theme from the wrestling, and I remind myself I'm the best guy on this podcast.
And we spend the next hour and a half completely tearing that apart.
Absolutely. Duncan, who's your son's favourite on our podcast?
I don't know. I forgot. Yeah, my son loves Adam. I'm not his favourite on the podcast. He openly says now. I mean, he says it just because it pisses me off.
The semi-final time. How are we feeling about the live shows?
Very excited.
Yeah, very excited.
And I think it's going to be so different because it's the live shows.
Yeah.
I think it's something we've not experienced before. We're all very experienced performers. We perform to a live audience, but I guess it's the cameras and lights. I think we're all feeling excited. We've had a couple of rehearsals.
How do you plan to make it bigger? You should always go bigger and bigger and bigger, opening, semi, and then final, without going into too much detail because of spoilers. How are you going to stand out in the semis? And then when you get to the final, because I reckon you will, what happens then?
So for the kids, obviously, to win would be that one of the best things ever, because they've already told us stories like, oh, we went into an assembly and they had an assembly about me, and they're all wanting to frame their golden confetti. But I think for the us, it's not about winning per se. Of course that would be amazing, and the money we would we would really pump that into our mentor and young mentors and stuff like that. But it's about just like the fact that we're trying to change the perspective of people. Even if it's one person, we've done our job. So it's the fact for the final, the semi-final and the final, if we get there, it's just about telling the next part of our story. Like that's what we're doing. For the semi-finals, we choose songs that are really gonna help boost that side of that message.
And whether that's the semi-finals or the finals, we're gonna go out with a bang.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like also as well, like keeping our integrity is a big thing. Not forgetting who we are, where we come from, keeping our integrity, keeping ourselves is a very big thing, and we will make sure to check ourselves, check each other, make sure that everybody's on the right path and we're doing it for the right reasons.
That's so important, isn't it? It's so easy to get into that headspace where you kind of become, I'm popular, I'm famous, and you're keeping your feet on the ground. I mean, what's something you guys do to encourage that? Because I mean, you must have been out now and people are going, oh, I saw you, and you're getting recognised, I'm guessing.
I don't know. I don't really.
I've got it around my area quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's probably because my neighbour sent out a whole message. So all my neighbours are noticing me and all that.
Maybe like 2 people when we went to Manchester, but not really, which I think is great because I love Asda, you see, and I didn't want to be able to go to Asda.
Yeah.
I need to go to Asda every day. I need to go and
That's Tara's biggest fear. It's not like what if a story comes out of this and that. It's can I shop peacefully in Asda?
We had a rightfully so. We had like a social media meeting where it was just to prep us and tell us what we need to do, what we don't need to do. And at the end of it, I was like, Jimmy, my downfall is going to be Asda.
Yeah. I feel I should mention other supermarkets are available.
Yeah, I know, but Asda's my one. Asda's my one.
Special to Cara.
Okay, I just need to be able to go to Asda.
But you're going to be on their next ad, aren't you? They're going to see this. Is we're going to
literally.
Oh my god! Dun. Oh my god!
Sponsor me. Sponsor the show, and then sponsor me.
Looking at you've got the live show coming up. There's got to be nerves. What's the funniest disaster you guys have had to face and overcome performing?
The cons.
Oh, Jimmy.
So, long story short, we do a Christmas show and a spring show every year at Chickenshed. The Christmas show includes about 800 people, so we have to split it into 4 casts. So we're doing one of the shows, and we're waiting upstairs to go on, and we're playing cards, and I've got rolled up jeans. So someone's decided, instead of just leaving the game where it is, they've got the cards whilst I'm not looking, a pack of 52, and they've put them in the slot of my rolled up jeans, my ankles, right? The movement we were doing, it was very like hoppity, right? Out of nowhere, we're about 3/4 through the song, bam, 52 cards are on stage. And it wasn't like a light thing. Oh, they came out. No, everywhere. Oh.
That's going to be dangerous too. They're quite slippery.
Yeah, that was there was like 60 people on stage.
Yeah.
Well, I've never heard that story before.
Gabriel, last month we did a show called Rush, and it was really good. It was only for it's the spring show. So we've got a big show, which is the Christmas show, and then we've got like a smaller show, which is spring show. This boy here had me running backstage trying to find a microphone because he took someone's microphone. Gabriel decides I can't find my microphone, so I'm going to take someone else's. During the performance, we did a massive musical reggae number to open the second act. It was wicked. And one of the performers was like to me, Cara, I don't have a mic. So I'm running around stage. Where was his mic? Gabriel told him.
It was in my back flap of my chair.
Yeah.
I've actually taken the mic home twice.
He's taking it home. He's taking it home.
We're seeing the DV here, aren't we? The microphones. I'm going to take them so no one else gets a chance.
I remember calling my teacher, so I kind of sort of took the mic home with me. Am I going to get in trouble? Just started laughing. And he was like, bring it back, it's fine.
But when you're performing, you've got to find like the little bits you can do with each other that the audience don't know you're doing. Like, especially for a long run, like you've got to spice it up in a way, not to completely change the show. Or like we really laugh about our mistakes. So sometimes you do we give out the L. So if you do something wrong, like you've got the L now. And you have to keep it. You have to keep it until someone else makes a mistake.
Yeah, that's like it passes on. I've got to ask then, if you're constantly taking the mic, Gabriel, have you had the moment where you've gone for a slash?
I think L's all the time.
If Gabriel takes off his jacket, he's got an L t-shirt.
Jimmy's the last one to have the L because of the chair. Jimmy broke the chair on stage.
No. So long story, no, I didn't break the chair on the stage. No, let me explain. So long story short, right? There was this chair. Imagine you got the seat and you got the cushion on top of it. Right? Now the cushion came up, down, left, right, wherever. So I've pulled it, instead of from the bottom of the chair, I pulled it from the cushion. So the cushion's split up like this. So I've gone to sit down. I've gone on stage, but I've managed to pull it off. I do hold the L.
Jimmy's held the L. You're not going to be able to give it to someone until...
I missed a flight to Glasgow and left Scarlett Johansson waiting for 7 hours.
Bet she's never had to wait before. I bet you've been the first one to make her wait.
Oh, for 7 hours? Yeah, and then I thought, how can I make this funny? And so I bought a new watch at the airport.
Oh, God. And you said you didn't know what the time was.
Well, my phone had died, and they sent me to the wrong gate, and I was, wicked hungover. And it was just like a cacophony of everything that could go wrong went wrong. That's the worst thing I've done, from a performance point of view.
I think for your Christmas things now, you're going to have to introduce the annual Golden L.
The annual Golden L.
So the biggest cock up from the year gets awarded to someone, and they keep that for the year, and it gets passed on in the same way every year. So
That would be a good one.
That would
Towards at the end of the year, you've got to tally up which L who took the most lessons. It's gonna be those two.
It's me. I think it's definitely me.
this has been a riot. Just talking to you guys, I love the attitude and just the fun aspect that often gets missed with this stuff. It's all about the heartfelt, this is me crap, and yeah, you guys are just awesome.
You really hate The Greatest Showman, don't you?
I hate musicals in general, but I enjoy watching them if they're live, kind of. But my wife will sit there watching Mamma Mia, and I just want to go and take something and can't cope with it.
As long as your wife isn't taking you to the Mamma Mia experience, I think you should count your blessings, because I bet she would love that, but I bet you would hate that.
You guys do a lot more outreach and stuff like that than is, aside from the chicken shed stuff, what stuff do you guys get involved with?
In terms of outreach, we've got like 2 touring shows. So the first show that's been around for 11 years is called Crime of the Century. Unfortunately, it came about because a member of head of education's nephew was fatally stabbed outside his home in Hackney 11 years ago. And then it just kept going and going and going. So they made a show called Crime of the Century, which basically targets knife crime. And it doesn't like tell you this is wrong. It just brings up the questions and gives you multiple ways of finding the answer for yourselves.
Pushes you to think about it.
Yeah. What's really good about that show is it follows kind of the life of the perpetrator. How in life, what systems failed him that he then did what he did. Which in the usual place, it's like following the victim and the victim's family and da-da-da. So yeah, it's about knife crime. It's toured to loads of places, majority prisons, youth offenders, schools. And then from that, we used to have like a baby crime, which is when you went into school, like primary schools. But obviously you couldn't really talk about knife crime and stuff like that. Even though now that it's getting younger and younger and younger, we created a show from going into primary schools and workshopping called Day One Big School. And that targets like year 5 to year 6s, like the worries about moving from year 5 to year 6 and year 6 to year 7. Because I think we forget that that's a massive step in kids' life. Going from primary school to secondary school, going from the oldest kids in school to the youngest kids in school, more stresses. And the things that they were talking about, like knife crime, carrying drugs, like these 9-year-olds, like the fact that they know about stuff like that, they know more than we think. So we've got 2 touring shows that they're doing well. We just come back from Manchester from I can't remember the name of it, but it was about assisted living and care background. So we turned Crime of the Century into less knife crime, more assisted living and social care and care backgrounds, instead of following like the pros and the cons of knife crime. We looked at the cons of care and assisted living and how we can make it better. And
you think that sort of stuff, you're talking about stuff like knife crime and drugs and all that kind of stuff, the stuff that we all worry about for our kids. Do you think that something like Chicken Shed, it really helps to combat that? Purely because I think a lot of people get into this. I was talking with someone about this yesterday, a policeman actually, a friend of mine. There's this thing of needing acceptance, and we all look for someone. And if your home life's difficult, and then you suddenly find crime gangs and stuff like that, where you kind of accept it, you're brought in and you find family. You guys are doing that in a really positive way. But I get the feeling Chicken Shed's like one big family, very open to that.
Oh, 100%. We are, but we do love each other. But we don't shy away from the lived experiences every individual has had. Some of them have been really bad and some of them have been really good. We definitely don't shy away from it. We just know that we're in a good place now and we know where we want to get to. And as being mentors, some days are hard because it's like you can't just, from people's lived experiences, have had rough, bad lives. Unfortunately, that's the cards that were given to them. They can't just come in and be like, oh yeah, I'm happy today. It's a roller coaster. But that's why we really believe in young mentors and being mentored by someone that knows what you're going through or looks like you. I think that's why what we do is so successful, is because we don't give the answers, because there isn't any. We don't lecture people. We just show what's happened and why it's bad and what maybe our perspective could be. Kind of like, what could you do type of thing.
100%.
Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing. If people want to find Chicken Shed online or check out what you're doing, where can they do so?
we've got a website, we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter, Facebook, we've got LinkedIn, we've got all the socials. Just type in Chicken Shed, and then you'll be able to find from there. But Chicken Shed.
We will chuck links in the description as well, so please do go check it out and make sure you're watching at least the semi-finals coming up, because Chicken Shed are going to be there. Alesha, Dixon's Golden Buzzer. Amazing, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you later.
Aren't they amazing? I am just so stoked to have seen them get through and get the Golden Buzzer, and I think I put my personal pick to be the winner of this year's Britain's Got Talent. Absolutely incredible people, and an incredible message they have to send out as well. If you'd like to know more about Chicken Shed, I'll put links in the description. Please do follow them up and make sure you're voting for them on Britain's Got Talent. Please do go hit like, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you always know when new content's going up, but you'll also be helping me get that 10,000 subscriber figure, which would just be huge for me. So please do go do that. I will see you again on the next episode. In the meantime, please do stay safe.